Ash's Sinnoh team is remembered as one of the strongest teams he ever built. It defeated his rival Paul, challenged legendary Pokémon, and came within one battle of winning the Sinnoh League. But could that same team beat one of the hardest Pokémon games in the series? Well, today I'll be finding out if Ash's Sinnoh team could actually beat Pokémon Platinum, with the goal being defeating champion Cynthia. So I booted up Pokémon Platinum and immediately got the most important choice of the entire run. Turtwig or Chimchar. Well, you see, Ash had both an Infernape and a Torterra on his team, but I can only choose one. So after thinking for a while, I finally chose Chimchar. And after picking Chimchar, me and Barry made our way to Lake Verity, where we encountered Cyrus for the very first time. And after me and Barry realizing that we didn't have any Pokeballs, we made our way to Sandgem Town, where we had a quick chat with Professor Rowan. Me and him basically agreed to me starting my journey to the Elite Four. And to start my journey off, I immediately caught a Starly, which would later become Ash's Staraptor, one of his most iconic Pokemon. Then me and Dawn made our way to Jubilife City. And in Jubilife, we encountered a member of the International Police, Looker. I also picked up a Quick Claw for my Chimchar before facing off against Barry. I managed to beat him and his Piplup without any bigger problems. Thereafter, I traveled to Oreburgh City, where I would challenge the first gym. But the gym leader was missing, so I had to find him in the mines before challenging him. And luckily for me, both my Chimchar and Starly evolved into Monferno and Staravia. And because of that, Ash's team managed to beat Rourke and claim the first gym badge. After obtaining the badge, I reunited with Rowan and Dawn, and together we beat up some Team Galactic grunts. Then, right before infiltrating the Valley Windworks, I caught Ash's Weasel. And let me now take a moment to explain the problem with Weasel. Ash never actually evolved his Weasel, and therefore I'm sadly not allowed either. But that doesn't really matter, because I actually like Weasel more than Floatzel anyway. But let's get back to the story. Together with Ash's team, we infiltrated the Galactic base and defeated Commander Mars. Then me and this girl Cheryl tag team our way through Eterna Forest. Then I found myself in Eterna City, which is where the second gym was located. Here I got to challenge Gardenia, the grass type gym leader. And let's just say that Monferno together with Staravia absolutely steamrolled her team. Then, with my newly acquired HM, Cut, I together with Looker infiltrated and beat the second commander of Team Galactic, Jupiter. And even though she was way tougher than Mars, she was still very easy. And before leaving Eterna City, I spoke a bit with the champion Cynthia. Then I made my way onto Cycling Road. And under Cycling Road, in Wayward Cave, I found the next puzzle piece of Ash's team, Gible. Now, sadly enough, I will not be getting a Garchomp or Gabite, because just like Weasel, Ash never evolved his Gible. But it's still a very nice addition to the team. And after catching Gible, I traveled all the way to Hardhome City. And in Hardhome City, I was reunited with my mother, but more importantly, I could challenge the third gym. And because of some really bad mistakes, I actually wiped for the very first time of the run. Now, let me tell you about an additional challenge of this run. Every time I wiped out, I will at the end of this video eat a tablespoon of hot sauce. And let me tell you now, there was a lot of hot sauce involved in this video. And after a more strategic approach, I managed to grab my third gym badge. Then, right after the gym, I once again got challenged by Barry. This time, he was way stronger, but after a hard-fought battle, Ash's team once again took the win. Then, whilst on my way to the next gym, something really stupid happened. I forgot to heal my Pokemon and therefore wiped to some random trainers. Anyway, I quickly took my revenge and then entered Veilstone City. There, I met up with Dawn and Crasher Wake, the water type gym leader, and after a brief chat, I entered the fighting gym. And, well, fighting types can't really do anything against the now evolved Staraptor, so Ash's team managed to claim the fourth gym badge. Now, Monferno also evolved into Ash's most known Sinnoh Pokemon. Infernape. So after nabbing a badge, I together with Dawn once again beat up some Team Galactic grunts, and I was rewarded with the HM Fly. Now, Fly isn't only an incredibly powerful flying type move, it also grants me the ability to fast travel around the map, which is very nice. Then I set my sights on the water type gym, and after traveling through the beach, I was now in Pastoria City. A lot of things happened in Pastoria. First, Barry challenged me to a battle, which I won without any danger. Then I tried to beat Crasher Wake, but failed due to type disadvantages. And so I realized that Ash's team was missing something really crucial. The heart of the team, Pikachu. Now I know that Ash didn't catch Pikachu in Sinnoh, but come on, an Ash team isn't complete without his partner. And with the help of Pokemon's main mascot, Crasher Wake was now defeated. But just as I was leaving the gym, an explosion went off in the distance. And following the explosion, a shady Team Galactic grunt appeared. He tried to run away, but I swiftly caught up to him and defeated him and his Pokemon. Then, the champion Cynthia appeared, and told me to proceed to Celestic Town. And after hiking through the foggy mountains, not only did I found Celestic Town, I also found Cyrus, Team Galactic's leader. He challenged me to a Pokemon battle, and even though I won, it felt like he held back his true strength. Then Cynthia came by, and she told me to get back on my journey and travel to Canalev City. And almost immediately, Barry wanted to battle again. His team had gotten pretty strong at this point, but Ash's team managed to win anyway. After defeating Barry, I entered the 6th gym, aka the Rock type gym. And I struggled pretty bad in this gym and unluckily wiped on my first try, but after changing strategies and relying more on Weasel, the 6th gym badge was ours. And when leaving the gym, Barry told us to join him in the library. There, we were once again reunited with Professor Rowan and Dawn. Do you remember the explosion in Pastoria City? Well, it happened again, but this time we took action. I got sent to Lake Valor, which is where the explosion happened, whilst Dawn was sent to Lake Verity and Barry to Lake Acuity. At Lake Valor, all the water was gone, and all that was left was some Magikarps and Team Galactic's 3rd commander, Saturn. I beat his team up and then went to help Dawn at Lake Verity with defeating Commander Mars once again. And just like last time, she was no problem. After that, I was on my way to Lake Acuity, but first had to defeat the 7th gym in the snow biome. I arrived in Snowpoint City after having to traverse the tough snowy climate, and there I found the 7th gym leader, Candice. Her team was filled with ice types, and luckily enough for me, I had an Infernape, who basically one-hit KO'd every single of her Pokemon. And after gaining access to the HM Rock Climb, I climbed my way to Lake Acuity. There I found out that Barry had lost to Commander Jupiter. And now, after visiting all 3 lakes, I, together with Looker, infiltrated Team Galactic's main base, Veilstone HQ. There, we sneaked into Cyrus's speech and found out their true goal: to summon the legendary Pokemon Giratina, and to destroy our universe and create a new one. This meant that I had to hurry all the way to the top of Veilstone HQ to stop Cyrus. And even though his team was much stronger this time, I managed to beat him. But I still felt like Cyrus was holding back. But after defeating him, I released the legendary Lake Trio, and then made my way up Mount Coronet, where I found the Spear Pillar. And not only did I find Team Galactic there, I also witnessed the summoning of Palkia, Dialga, and the devil of Pokemon itself, Giratina. And after some explaining from Cynthia, we together traveled our way into the Distortion world. And here I'm going to be honest, the puzzles in this part of the game is very boring. All there is to it is pushing boulders down holes, so I'll be skipping through it. But after stumbling our way through the eerie dimension, we finally caught up to Cyrus. And there he challenged me for the very last time, and this time he went all out. And after wiping for the first time, I went to pick up the last piece of this run, the Ligar, and I thought it would only be right to throw my Master Ball to guarantee the last capture in Ash's Sinnoh team. But because of the way Gligar evolves, I couldn't get my hands on Ash's Gliscor just yet. Therefore, Cyrus was still incredibly difficult. Cyrus managed to beat me 2 more times. Then I got Lock on my side and on the 4th attempt managed to beat him. But now it was time for the actual ruler of the Dimension World, the Renegade Pokémon, none other than Giratina. But Giratina was actually way easier than Cyrus and was no problem for Ash's team. And so, me together with Ash's Sinnoh Pokémon managed to save the world. And now that Route 222 was finally open, I could finally travel to Sunny Shore City. But before challenging the 8th and last gym, I collected the Razor Fang and evolved Gligar into the mighty looking Gliscor. And with Ash's Sinnoh team finally completed, we entered the last gym before the Elite Four. Here we together challenged the electric type gym leader, Faulkner, and failed on our first try. But after realizing that Gliscor together with Gible could together destroy Faulkner, Ash's team got the last gym badge. Then we made our way onto Victory Road and then climbed the waterfall leading up to the Pokémon League. And right there, before entering the Elite Four, Barry challenged us to a final battle. But unfortunately for Barry, Ash's team was just way too strong for someone like him. And also, one extra thing I did before entering the Elite Four was to get the Earthquake TM for Gliscor in Wayward Cave. And then I entered the final gauntlet of the game. The Elite Four's first member was the Bug-type specialist Aaron. And just like you may think, Infernape was the MVP and carried this win. Next up was Bertha, whom I struggled a lot more with. Her team was filled with ground types, which meant I mostly had to rely on Ash's Buizel. And because of Buizel's poor stats and other type disadvantages, I failed on my first try. On my second try, I managed to keep Buizel alive, and he outsped and surfed our way to victory. 2 down, 3 to go. Now it was time for the Hothead Flint and his Earthquaking Infernape. Luckily enough for me though, Ash's Infernape was even stronger than Flint's, and just barely pulled our way through to the last member of the Elite Four, Lucian, the toughest of the squad and a Psychic type user. But for some reason, Ash's Infernape could KO every single one of Lucian's Pokémon only with the move Flare Blitz. And finally, the champion herself, known for being one of, if not the strongest trainer in the whole series, Cynthia. Her team is crazy, having Pokémon like Spiritomb and Milotic, but the most known and the strongest Pokémon of hers was none other than her partner Garchomp. And let me tell you, this battle was tough. I started with Infernape, who managed to beat Cynthia's Spiritomb. Then, when she sent out her Milotic, I thought about switching out my Pokémon, but Infernape stayed and one hit KO'd with close combat. But sadly enough, Cynthia's Togekiss was just too much for Ash's Infernape. So I sent out Pikachu, who miraculously survived on 3 HP and managed to do some major damage before Cynthia switched out to her ace. Pikachu sacrificed himself so that the only Pokémon on my team who had a chance against Garchomp could be switched in. Gliscor managed to scare off Cynthia's Garchomp, so she once again switched in her Togekiss. I knew I had to keep Gliscor alive, so I switched in the shark himself, Gible, that Dragon Clawed Togekiss out of the battle. And Cynthia sent out Garchomp again, and even though Gible was strong, Garchomp was just stronger. Now was the time that Gliscor really had to shine. But after a quick heal off, Cynthia's Garchomp just barely survived Gliscor's last Earthquake and defeated Ash's Gliscor. I sent out Staraptor that finished Garchomp off with a quick attack. We managed to beat Cynthia's ace, but she still had Lucario and Roserade left. And so, with Staraptor's remaining HP, I healed up Infernape. And sacrificing Infernape's own HP, she clutched and defeated Cynthia's last 2 Pokémon with Flare Blitz. And so, Ash's team actually managed to beat Cynthia's team and claim the Sinnoh League champion title. And the Hall of Fame was just beautiful to look at, perfectly reflecting mine and Ash's journey through Pokémon Platinum. But one last thing before ending the video. Okay, so I have fucking shit here. So the hot sauce was clogged, so now I have a worse one actually here. Oh fuck's sake. This is a teaspoon. What the fuck? Okay, that was 1 of 8. It tastes horrible. This is 2 right here. It tastes like shit. Like, it tastes like utter shit. It tastes like shit. I'm actually gonna throw up, bro. Oh I can't eat this, bro. It tastes like shit. Like I threw up. I'm so sorry. 3 spoons. It's hot as shit and really spicy, but I tolerate spice. It tastes like shit. I'm so sorry. I can't eat 8 spoons of that. Fuck me, bro. Okay, so yeah, I failed the hot sauce challenge, but what the fuck am I supposed to do? I actually threw up. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm so sorry for not completing the challenge, but please, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks.